Hello my friends, Birdman 316 here. We're out here at the battlefield. We're getting ready to fly this. I guess you could say this is an old school revisit of this bird here, this Bugs 3, the Drocon edition. We plug this in. On these, well, this is a toy grade model, but it's a brushless, high-end toy grade model. This is a Drocon version. There we go. Always plug in the bird first, and then turn this on second. But when you land, you unplug that first, and then turn this off last. Okay, we're going to calibrate the gyros. I hope you guys can see those lights up front there. I just calibrated the gyros. Okay, we're arming motors by pushing this red button right here. I'm sure you guys know that they already have the Bugs 3. This is the Drocon edition. This is the blue one. So I have a black one and I have a couple red ones. One of the red ones came from a really good friend of mine who passed away back in 2018. Full Metal Heli. That's where I got one of them from. Good friend of mine passed on. We're doing this flight for Brian. That's his name, Brian Shultz, Full Metal Heli. Let's get this bird in the air. Arming the motors. We're going. See, I'm flying like this. I used to fly like this, but now I'm flying pinching. Now this is this one's first flight ever. Maybe a little testing in the lab. But other than that, let me bring her a little closer where you guys can see her. It's a little breeze out here today. There we go. It's always had that, all the bugs have a little vibration when they take off. I guess you could say it's, I'm not sure, like a flutter or whatever like that. But they've always, all of mine have. They always have. I haven't flown line of sight in a long time, guys. There we go. Okay, where you can see her again. Coming this way here. I'm sure they test these in a lab. Now these props here, these are not, well, two of them are. Let me get closer where you can see better. The two front ones came in another kit. Oh, the two front ones came in another kit, and the two back ones actually came with the quad. It came with all four props the same color, but I like to put red up front or white up front or something, so let me show you this. See, I'm up there pretty good. You can tell the front from the back because the red props are up front. Yeah, you can tell I'm rusty on line of sight, guys. I've been FPVing for a long time and hadn't line of sight in a good little while, except for just testing equipment out to make sure it's going to fly before I put a camera on here. And yes, this one here is getting a camera, because you notice on the front it has a headlight. Let me get over this way where you can see better. You can see a light on the front of this. That's where most people put a camera on there when they FPV. Now the lid snaps off, and you can see as a perfect place to put a battery to power the AIO all by itself under its own power. Now you can tap into the power that runs the light on here, but I would rather have its own battery to power the camera, so that way all the power, the horsepower, is concentrated on the motors themselves. That's just me though. I have a Bug 6. I'm going to give the guy a shout out. His name is Captain Cook, Neil Cook. He gave that to me a couple years ago. I still have that quad, and it also has a camera on it, a VTX AIO camera on the front, which the lid houses also the antenna. And believe it or not, even though the dipole antenna VTX AIO is covered up, it still has nice range for a dipole antenna, and plus it's covered up. This one here is probably going to get the same thing. Get a dipole antenna AIO and its own battery under the lid, velcroed on top of the flight controller. I know I sound like a robot, guys. I'm trying to do a nice review here, a revisit, if you will. And just think, well, you might want to time your flights, let's say 5-minute intervals, because I know the battery on this thing, the stock battery is like a 1800 milliamp, and it lasts, what, about 10 to 12 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe. That would be asking a lot for that AIO battery to do, even on 25 milliwatts. So you might want to time your flights at 5 minutes a piece. I mean, if worst comes to worst, let the motors cool down a little while and change the battery in the VTX. Just put a fresher battery in there so you know that you won't have a blackout. If you have snow on your screen, guess what? You can't see where you're going, so you got to take your goggles off really quickly and fly it back line of sight like this. This right here is line of sight when you're flying like this. With no camera on here, you're actually looking out at the bird itself. That's called line of sight, guys. In case of any new pilots out there, this right here is line of sight. And they say that it's a good idea to learn how to fly line of sight before you go FPV, because if you have to snatch them goggles off, you got to know how to bring that quad back. You know what I mean? And a really good teacher on how to fly line of sight quads is Quadcopter 101. You just look him up on YouTube. He has you do an exercise. Let me bring it back and show you. Let me bring it back. We're having the quad in front of ourselves, facing away from ourselves. See what I'm doing right here? He'll have you do an exercise like going out, coming back like this. And once you get good at that right there, you can learn to do your side to side like this, like that. Once you get good at that, he'll get you to do this. Now this right here is called nose in. You notice, check it out. Move the stick to the left, it's going right. Move the stick, let me back up a little bit so you can see it better. Okay, move the stick to the right, it goes left. Everything is backwards. And then when you push forward, it comes towards you, and push backwards, it goes away from you. Well, wait a minute. Let me get that right. Let me try it again, guys. Okay, here we go. I'm caught a little prop wash here. Okay, check it out. Push forward, meaning it comes towards you. Now it's in reverse, so to speak. And let me turn it around. Okay, turn it around like this and get it stopped. Oh, there we go. Air brakes. Okay, here we go. This is normal. Coming back to myself, pull back. Air brake time and go forwards. That's normal like this. Like that. But when you come back towards yourself, you're facing yourself. That means everything is backwards. Everything is backwards. I just had to do that, guys. Hadn't done that like in a while. J-Drone is really popular about doing that little stunt right there. It's like a pullback or whatever like that. There we go. Get her where I can see her better. Okay. Now, J-Drone was doing a video on how to bind the jumper T-light to this type of bird. And he just happened to have a link to this bird right here Got it from Amazon. We call him Bamazon, like, you know, bam, like J-Drone, bam. You know, he does that a lot. He says it a lot. He gets excited. He goes bam, like that. So we just call it Bamazon. So I bought it off of his link. He had a link to this quad on Bamazon, and this thing was under $70. If you remember Amazon Prime, you get free shipping. The only charge that they got you for is taxes. They started charging sales tax on online purchases. They started that about maybe about a year and a half ago. So guys, there's no way you can get out of paying taxes on anything anymore. Not even online purchases. You're gonna pay there too. So to get used to it, I guess it's they figure we gotta get our share of the money too. Yeah, we're missing out. Yeah. See, I'm just kind of tooling around here and kind of flying somewhat figure eights, but that's a good thing to learn too. I think we're still in rate number 1, speed number 1. I never changed speeds or anything. I just flying along, you know. Okay, then what we're going to do now, the battery is nowhere near dead yet, but I'm going to bring her over here and land her. Let me bring it back towards myself here. So I can land those in because I am an expert. No, hey, there's no such thing as an expert because the learning never stops. You'll never graduate the School of Quads because there's always something to be learned. Okay, let's bring her down closer here like that. Set her down like this. And to stop the motors, you just long press this red button right here. Look at the motors going to stop. Check it out. There we go. There we go. Just unplug them. Remember I told you guys, unplug the quad first. Just for safety. You don't want to turn the transmitter off and it catch a glitch somewhere, and it could very well, see, loss of signal, unplug the quad. You hear that? That's an alarm. That means if you lost a signal, the alarm goes off and you get to take a long walk to find your quad or something. I'm not sure if the quad has its own beeper on it. I don't think it does, but I guess you can equip it with a beeper. I'm not sure. This type right here. Let's check these motors while we're... Wow, these things are barely warm. See me checking them out. They're barely warm. That battery is nowhere near ran down, because if it was running down, you'd see flashing lights on the bottom of the quad. Now what I did with this battery, let me show you something. I've done all my Bugs batteries like this, so I can run, this one came with a Bugs 3 right here. It used to have this plastic case built around it. I took that off, and it's got foam pads on either side of the battery. I left them on there. I just added a couple of rubber bands, big old fat rubber bands. Now this battery here can also be ran in the Bugs 6 as well as the Bugs 2, C, and W. And maybe even, yes, that can also be ran in the, what's that thing called? The Bugs 2 limited edition LED, the silver one. The pretty silver one. Okay guys, I have ran my mouth long enough. I hope you guys are still awake, especially you, Ed. Wake up, Ed. Come on, Ed, wake up. Okay guys, I'm going to close it out with a view of the quad, the battery, and the radio, just like that right there. I hope you guys can see that. But anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful night, wonderful day, wherever you are. This is Birdman 316. Sayonara.